Okay, so we have our mind in terms of self-care. And then the next one I think you said is body.
Correct.
Okay.
Yes. So our body is, when we start to, exactly how it sounds, start to care for our own bodies. And that can be as simple as just going out for a walk, like moving our body. That can be as simple as drinking water every morning, you
My God,
know.
water.
Um, and I'm not a fitness coach. I always mention that, like, that's not my thing. But when I realized the biggest impact has happened, um, is when I also, the energy part that we want is when I'm hydrated, when I'm moving, when my body is also aligned with the things that I want. And so I always tell folks, like, just be mindful of the little things you can do to care for your body. And it doesn't have to be a 10-minute, 20-minute, 30-minute workout, but as long as you're moving, it can be super helpful. Something I do that I mentioned is I park really far away at my job and I just walk. I make it a nice walk where I can be present with the world. Again, this is with being silent, be grateful, appreciative, and I'm also moving my body at the same time. And that's something really simple that you can do. Um, yeah.
I love that part. I could do that. I should park farther away. That's a great idea.
I Yeah, it's wonderful. Like, you'll be like, I don't know, I don't have time to be doing, just park far away. And then I have to be like, and I put a timer in my house because I'm really bad with time. 10 minutes ahead. So I think I'm running late. And so I get to work 10 minutes before so I can enjoy my walk. That
Yeah.
works 9 out of 10 times for me.
My husband likes to do that. Like I need to know what the exact time is. And I've seen him like tick up the oven in 6 minutes. And I'm like, I'm disoriented now, but he likes that game.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Okay,
I
so
I hated it too. It was my
body.
partner that did that too, and I hated it.
Yeah. So mind, body, and then was the other one was like soul or things that you like to do. Okay.
Yes. So your mind, body, and soul. So the soul is all the other little things that kind of just feed your soul, or that you're passionate about, that you care about. I always tell people, like, think about the things that you maybe no longer do, but you always enjoy doing. So for me, like, I was not good at it, but I liked drawing. It was very relaxing. It was like it got me into this meditating state too. And so I just do some sketching here, just randomly here and there whenever I want to, again, just slow down everything else going on. But for some, that can also be decluttering the kitchen cabinets because that's relaxing for them. And then for others, like we talked about in the beginning, that's going and getting a spa day. Like, I need to go and have the day for myself with the manny and um, have me time, without thinking about, you know, all these other things that I'm responsible for in the day. So
If
again, the mind, body, and soul combined there.
if you're truly looking to achieve like self-care, are you ticking each bucket, mind, body, and soul, every day? Or it just depends on the day?
Great question. So what I say is the mind is something you do daily.
I
That
would
one's an
you
everyday
have to,
thing.
right? Like you have
It,
to have your mindset on straight, no bad talk to yourself, so you're ready for the day.
right,
I could
right.
see my moms that I work with being like, well, I can't go out for the walk and go do the thing that I like. Like I can hear people arguing with me about that.
Yeah, yeah. And that's why I tell folks, like, it's not you don't have to do everything all the time, right? The soul is something that you do periodically whenever you need it. I say the soul is what you do whenever you want. The mind and the body, it's something as simple as like 30 seconds worth of something. We often overcomplicate it because the mind can be as simple as just waking up and saying, I'm grateful for X. I'm grateful for my kids, right? And you just even saying those things is impactful. And then the body's as simple, like as I mentioned before, drinking a glass of water,
Right.
just moving up and down the stairs with your kids. You're doing the body work without even realizing it
Right.
sometimes.
Well, I think sometimes
So those are the things, yeah, right. But you're not the first. So when I talk to moms too, they were similar. I can't do all of this. This is too complicated. But I did a 30 self challenge with a group of moms, and they were like, oh no, it's not. The things that I do that I didn't think about are self-care in itself. And I say, so you don't want to overcomplicate it. You want to acknowledge it and recognize it, but be intentional with it. So you, with everything that you do, you have to be intentional. So you don't want to just be writing in a journal to write in a journal if what you're writing means nothing to you. Right. So I say you're going to have to be intentional as to why you're doing it. That's why I say you have to ask questions all the time with everything you do. Mm-hmm. And that makes a huge difference.
So here's a question for you. I think we have a lot of moms listening to this podcast and dads, like a lot of parents obviously listening to this, but I feel like for the person who's listening to this and they feel like we did after our first in survival, barely getting by, all the balls are coming down. Just like what's step one to breaking that cycle? I think I know what you're going to say.
Yeah.
I still want to know.
You think, oh, okay, let me see. So step one.
I'll give my guess when you're done.
All right. So this is often hard, though. Maybe it's not what you were thinking, but it's going to go back to how do you feel, asking the questions. Everything's about question asking, but how do you want to feel? Like, what are you in right now? And how is it that you want to feel? Start there. If you're in a constant survival mode, if you're literally like, I'm just so beat, like sit down and take the time to ask yourself, where am I at now? Where do I want to be? And don't try to worry about like the steps to getting there. Just ask yourself.
Right.
Because we don't ask ourselves these things. So that's really step one, is asking yourself, where is it that you want to be? And how is it that you feel right now? And it doesn't need to write it down. Maybe you sit down and have that conversation. Maybe you go for a walk and have that conversation. And it might seem like, well, how do I have this conversation? Like, just ask yourself those questions. And I think that's honestly the first step in gaining, again, it's gaining clarity. And then once you do that, then you can work on everything else, which then we jump into all the different self-care pieces that you can work on.
Right. I love that. I was going to say, how do you want to feel?
Yes. How do you want to feel?
I will say though, I'm a very tactical person, and I don't give myself space to ask myself those questions. So for me, if I'm in a place already, I'm thinking about the steps to get where I want to be. And so for me, what's I'm taking away and what's really key in this moment is to actually just take a breath and not just decide how do you want to feel, but asking yourself those questions and entertaining space for just that before you get to the logistics of how you're going to get there. And that's right. That's for me very hard to do, is to just give myself that space to do it. I think that's really cool.
Right. And that's why I say for another day when we have another conversation, my P in my spa is productivity, because I'm not trying to put down the fact that we have to be productive to some degree. But in order to get there, I say, if you're someone who needs to have a schedule and organize, put it in your schedule to spend time to talk to yourself. Yep. So my moms that come to me say, well, I have to be doing something. I said, well, then make it a priority. If you really feel super beat and you're actually able to vocalize it, you're at a point where you can vocalize, I am exhausted and I don't like how I feel, then you have to now take the time to prioritize that feeling, because it's obviously super important to you.
Yeah.
And that's why you have to start there.
Nelly, you're so cool. I could talk to you all day. Well,
I know, I love this so much.
How do people find you? What if people want to talk to you or work with you? How do people find you?
Yeah, so right now I am most active online on Instagram at I am Nelly A _. But I also have a website, workingmombalanced.com, and I also have a podcast, Working Mom Balanced. So super simple and easy. But I would love to chat. So anything and everything. I just enjoy these conversations and being able to just embrace motherhood and being a working mom, because it is a beautiful thing.
I'm so grateful that you reached out to us, and Loved having you here today. We'll definitely have to have you back. And everybody listening, check out Nelly's Instagram, her website, give the podcast a listen. And just thanks so much
Yes.
for being here. I really appreciate you prioritizing this today. I love spending the time.
Yes. Thank you, Emily. I appreciate it.
All right, everyone else, I'll see you or talk to you or tune in with you next week.